gotta wake up and realize it.
Hey, how you doing out there? It's your boy Chris Harris, and I'm back with you again here at Open Doors with another great topic. I want you to make sure you like this episode, and also, if you haven't done so already, I need you to hit that subscribe button. All right, let's go. I want us to talk about this whole deal that happened with the Indiana Fever and Chicago Sky, the first game of the season, Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, because from that one basketball play, so much has transpired that we need to talk about. I want us to look at something. Now, RG3, Robert Griffin III, he has a podcast, and he made some comments about Angel Reese that kind of sparked some controversy that we'll talk about later. But I just want to look at what he said and just have a conversation. All right, let me play the video.
Guys, it's so obvious that Angel Reese hates Caitlin Clark. If you don't know, let me inform you about what happened. Caitlin Clark committed a hard foul on Angel Reese as she was wide open for a free, easy layup. Routine play. Every one of you that's watching has heard your coach tell you, hey, we ain't gonna give them no easy points, no easy baskets in the paint, baby. So why do I think Angel Reese hates Caitlin Clark? It could be the fact that Aaliyah Boston had to save Angel Reese from ending her career. This is a still shot. After the foul that Caitlin Clark put on Angel Reese tried to hit her. But if it wasn't for Aaliyah Boston putting her arms in the way, Angel Reese would not be playing basketball anymore because she was gonna sucker punch Caitlin Clark. Now you tell me a time when you've seen somebody get fouled on a basketball court in a professional league where they tried to almost sucker punch somebody that they were friends with because of a hard foul. I've seen LeBron James get fouled by Dwayne Wade, but it was a hard foul. LeBron didn't get up and try to smack him upside the head or hit him in the face from behind. But that's what Angel Reese did to Caitlin Clark. So where was this type of reaction last year when Angel Reese got chokeslammed by Alyssa Thomas of the Connecticut Sun? Y'all remember that? So after watching the play, I tweeted out, after watching Caitlin Clark's flagrant foul on Angel Reese and the aftermath, there is no way Angel Reese can continue the lie that she doesn't dislike Caitlin Clark. I know what hatred looks like. Angel Reese hates Caitlin Clark. Not some basketball rivalry hate either. Hate.
All right, so you heard what RG3, Robert Griffin III said after that play, that whole conversation, that whole speech that he made created some controversy in itself that we'll talk about at a later time. But I just want to use what he said because, like I was saying earlier, that one basketball play, and we see hard fouls all the time. So what's so different about this hard foul than any other hard foul is that the emotion of the fans and the emotion of people who watch these two players got involved. That's my opinion. But something that RG3 asked, he said that he believes that Angel Reese hates Caitlin Clark. That's what he said. First, let me just say this before we jump into the topic. RG3, he was so dramatic. He was so dramatic. I'm watching this same basketball play, and he was saying, oh, Angel Reese was going to get up and sucker punch Caitlin Clark. No, she wasn't. No, she wasn't. It's basketball, RG3. This happens all the time in basketball. People jump up. They may do a little shoving, a little pushing. They may get up in people's faces, but they know what's at stake. Ain't nobody's going to sucker punch anybody. There was no fight about to happen between anybody. People are not fighting in basketball. NBA, WNBA, that's not going on because they have too much to lose. Angel Reese has too much to lose. A lot of these young ladies or women who are playing in the WNBA have too much to lose. The NBA, as much as they make and the endorsement, they know they have too much to lose. Stop it. He was like, oh, she was going to end her career. She was about to sucker punch her. He was so dramatic. So dramatic, exaggerating everything. That's not true. It was a basketball play. It shows you the intensity of the game. It happens. All type of sports, not just basketball. Football, you get up. He played football. You get up, a little pushing and shoving. Nobody's fighting out there. Baseball, same thing. Bench is clear. They sitting there talking, and then they go back. The bullpen, they run all the way from the outfield to the infield. That's a long way. They come there, everybody standing around, do a little talking. They come back. It's just part of the game. It's just part of the game. So that was just blown way out of proportion. But it lets you know that whole dialogue that he did just lets you know the emotion that people have around these two women and around the topic of them playing against each other. But let's go back to the topic at hand. He asked, does Angel Reese hate Caitlin Clark? He believes that Angel Reese hates Caitlin Clark. But I want to take it further because I don't want to single out Angel Reese. Does the black players in the WNBA, do they hate Caitlin Clark? I want us to talk about that. Do the black ballers, do the black athletes, the black women in the WNBA, do they hate Caitlin Clark? Let's talk about it. I think hate is a strong word. When you're talking about hate in its definition, I don't think anybody wants to see harm happen to Caitlin Clark. But this is where I want to go today as we have this discussion. We have to separate the person who is Caitlin Clark and the brand that is Caitlin Clark. The person who is Caitlin Clark seems like a nice person. All the interviews that I see, of course, we're not around her. We don't know her personally. But from everything that we see or have ever seen about Caitlin Clark, she's a competitor. She just wants to hoop. She just wants to ball. She's a great basketball player, a great basketball player. And she seems like, you know, when questions come her way, there's been a lot of controversy that's surrounding her, you know, with race and everything else. And she seems to answer those questions, you know, very well, very well. You know, she seems like a young lady who just wants to grow her career and be the best that she can be and just ball. Just ball. That's all she's into is just hooping, just balling. But I think you have to separate the person from the brand. Now, one thing I'm going to say, and it may sound controversial because I said not that, you know, we talk about hating, right? There's hate when you just despise someone and you want something bad to happen to someone. But then there's hating in the Urban Dictionary where you're envious or you're jealous, right? I want to talk about women for a second. This may be controversial. I was talking to some people and they said something to me, which I agree. And it's not for every woman. It's not for every woman, right? But I just want you to look around in the settings in which you live your life, in your workplace, and you know, in your family, in any place that you live your life and you're around women. I'm going to say this. Women are going to hate. Women hate on each other. It's a characteristic of some women. I'm not saying all women hate on each other, but from my life, in my experiences, I've seen a lot of women hate on each other. I've seen women hate on another woman because that woman has the attention of the men in the office, has the attention of the supervisor or the manager, not because of her looks, because of her work production. But I've seen other women, because of it, hate on that particular woman. So some women, like I said, I don't want this to be a firestorm or say, oh, he's dogging women. No, some women hate on each other. And we're talking about a league of women, right? Let's go back. I believe that when it comes to the brand of Caitlin Clark, I believe, yes, the black women in the WNBA hate the brand, the popularity, all of that of Caitlin Clark. But let's go deeper about it. Is it deservingly so? Let's put ourselves in the shoes of the black women in the WNBA. And it might not, you might be like, man, it's not a black or white thing. Maybe all the women, a lot of the women are looking at her with some kind of resentment. Because as I always state, there are some ballers in the WNBA. Aja Wilson is a baller. Nafisa Kalia is a baller. There are a bunch of them. There's a bunch of women who ball, but you never hear about them unless you are a true fan of the WNBA, someone who's a diehard. But the mainstream population, the average fan doesn't know about the women who are doing great things in the WNBA. They know about some maybe, but the majority mostly know about a select few. So imagine these women who have polished their game, had success, but have never got the publicity of a Caitlin Clark. And then this Johnny come lately comes up and it's a firestorm. I'm just saying. Now, the lady Caitlin Clark, the person, I believe they have no problem with. They have no problem with. You know, she seemed, like I said, she seemed like a nice young girl. She seems like it. But I believe that the brand of Caitlin Clark. Now, where did that brand come from? There are people who like Caitlin Clark for a couple of different reasons. A lot of them are white because she's white. Caitlin Clark has this cult following, and a lot of them flock to her because she's the Larry Bird, if I can use that, of this time. She looks like them. She represents them in their mind, in their heart. So they flock to her because of her race. Because of that, I believe a lot of people flock to her. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. So she has a cult following. She has a mainstream following, a big brand because she's white. She's a great player. She's awesome. Caitlin Clark is awesome. But there are also a lot of awesome women in the WNBA that you never hear of. Sometimes I'm going through the stat sheets of the WNBA. I'm like, man, this girl is balling. Look at her stats. Never heard of her. But Caitlin Clark is a household name. Her game is no different. Aja Wilson is balling, but you never hear about Aja Wilson in the same depth or the same sound that you have when it comes to Caitlin Clark. We always hear about Caitlin Clark when Aja Wilson is doing her thing because it's about her race. Let's be honest. But that's not just it, because there are people, yes, who, because she's white and they're white, they flock to Caitlin Clark. It looks like her. It represents them. They follow Caitlin Clark. But as I was preparing for this episode today, there are some people even outside of being white who follow Caitlin Clark, who like Caitlin Clark. And I'm talking about the majority of people. I mean, people who just like her game. Don't get me wrong. This is, people who just like her game. She's great. She's a great basketball player. Don't get me wrong. But there are a lot of people, because I was sitting down and I was preparing for this episode, and I was just thinking about the whole situation on the rise and just the momentum of a Caitlin Clark. There are people, I said, because of her race, she's white. But there are people because when you look at the WNBA, now I want to hear your opinion on this, what I'm about to say. When you look at the WNBA has always, in times past, been labeled a lesbian league, right? It was a league full of lesbians. That's how it's been portrayed. Not saying that's true. That could be a stereotype. Not saying that's true, but it's always been looked upon as a bunch of lesbians playing basketball. But it's not just that, right? So Caitlin Clark is not a lesbian. Another thing about Caitlin Clark that some people like, and I want us to have a discussion about this, she's not, or she doesn't carry herself as the somebody in that hip hop culture. Also, she doesn't carry herself in that woke culture, right? Caitlin Clark, to me, represents the conservative person. She's not, another thing that that she's not doing, that you don't see her doing, is some of these ladies who are heterosexual, they're still portraying sex. You see them dressing sexy. You see them doing these things. Some people don't like that. Caitlin Clark represents the conservative person. Now, what have we had a move of in our nation? The conservatives, right? The Republicans, the conservatives. Caitlin Clark represents the conservative person because she's just a plain white girl who can ball. I don't even know if she has tattoos. You let me know if she has tattoos. I've never seen them. I don't even know if she has tattoos. She doesn't wear any skimpy outfits. I never see her dressing provocatively on any magazine or publication. I haven't seen it. She doesn't seem like the type of person who's part of the hip hop culture like some of the ladies are, that some people say, oh, they're part of this social activist culture, the woke culture. Some of them are. A lot of the WNBA seems to fall into those categories where Caitlin Clark is just the conservative white girl who just wants to hoop. And I believe a lot of people, in my opinion, have drawn to her because of that. Because of that. You have those who just because she's a white girl, hey, black people have dominated the sport of basketball. Now we got this white girl who looks like us and she's doing her thing. We're getting after her. We're getting after her. We're following her. You have that. But then you also have people, and not all these people I'm about to mention, I said, are not all white. There's some black people. There's some Asian. There's some Hispanic, because she represents the conservative that they are. That conservative person. She's just, hey, the plain Jane. She's just trying to be a plain Jane. She's not getting the BBL. She's not wearing the skimpy outfits. She's not all into this, ratchet music and different things like that. From what I've seen, I could be totally wrong. This from what I've seen, she's just plain Jane. She's just plain Jane. And the majority of the WNBA, from what I've seen, they fit in the other categories, but she's plain and just hooping. So I think that's what gives her her draw. But again, you have a lot of ladies who have come up in this league, and they've put in work, and they've sweated, and they've worked hard, and they grind just to have a good career and just try to promote the game of basketball. But then here comes this plain white girl out of nowhere, and she's getting all the publicity. And women have an attribute, some of them, where they hate on one another. So I believe, yes, when it comes to the celebrity, when it comes to the brand of Caitlin Clark, I believe they do hate her. Angel Reese is what RG3 talked about. She's part of that. I believe she does hate that celebrity of Caitlin Clark. But sometimes we have to get in these ladies' shoes and see, we can ask ourselves, not saying it's right, but can we understand? Can we understand? Because there are a lot of good ball players in the WNBA, but they're not white and they're not part of this group, so they don't get the publicity when they're great as well. So yes, I believe so, but not the person of Caitlin Clark, but just that whole celebrity, just the brand, the name of Caitlin Clark. I believe they're a little envious of. What do you think out there? What do you think out there? I would love to hear your point of view on the matter. I could be totally off. That's what Open Doors here, for us to have a discussion. I can be totally off. You can have a different opinion, but I would love to hear your opinion. So talk to me out there. Before I get out of here, I want to give a shout out to the Dream Team. My producers, Blessed Dream Production, my boy Alfred, and Eyes Have Not Seen, my sister Marilyn. Don't forget to connect with me on Instagram, Young King 1982. And until the next time another episode drops here at Open Doors, be blessed. Talk to you soon.
And don't ever take nothing for granted, man. Hey, you gotta wake up and realize it all.